I never thought I'd be writing something like this at 45 years old, sitting alone in my kitchen at midnight, drinking cold coffee and questioning every decision I've ever made. My wife and I have been married for 17 years, together for 20. We met in our early 20s, when life was simple and dreams were big. She was ambitious, smart, and confident. I was quiet, hardworking, and loyal to a fault. People used to say we balance each other, and for a long time that felt true. We built a life, a house, 2 cars, a small savings account, a routine that felt safe, not exciting but dependable. I thought dependable was enough. I thought stability was love. For most of our marriage, I trusted her completely. No passwords hidden, no secret accounts, no late-night suspicions. She was my best friend, the first person I called when something good happened, the first person I leaned on when things went wrong. We went through job losses, family deaths, financial stress, and somehow stayed together. That made me believe we were unbreakable, that nothing could touch us. That belief made me blind. About a year ago, things started shifting in small ways. She became more focused on herself. New clothes, new hairstyle. Suddenly interested in skincare, fitness, and fashion. At first, I was proud of her, thought she was rediscovering herself. Then she started spending more time on her phone, smiling at messages, turning the screen away when I walked by, taking calls outside, going to networking events I was never invited to. When I asked questions, she'd say I was being insecure, that I should trust her. So I did, because after 17 years, why wouldn't I? She also became emotionally distant. She stopped asking how my day was, stopped noticing when I was stressed, stopped caring when I was tired. Our conversations became practical. Bills, groceries, appointments. No more dreams. No more late-night talks. No more laughing in bed. I told myself this was just what long marriages look like. That passion fades. That companionship replaces it. I convinced myself I was lucky to still have her at all. The first real warning sign came when she forgot my birthday. Not just a gift. The entire day. No message. No hug. No happy birthday. She remembered that night when Facebook reminded her. She apologized quickly and blamed work. I smiled and said it was fine. It wasn't. It felt like proof that I had become invisible. A few months later, she started traveling more. Conferences, trainings, company retreats. Sometimes twice a month, sometimes last minute. She'd pack quickly, barely talk, and leave. She sent photos from hotels, smiling selfies, miss you texts. I believed them because I wanted to. The discovery happened on a random Wednesday. No drama, no screaming, just a quiet moment that changed everything. She had left her laptop open on the dining table. She was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for our insurance document. Her email was open. A message popped up. Last night meant everything to me. I hate that we have to hide. My heart stopped. I stared at it, hoping it would disappear. It didn't. I clicked. There were hundreds of emails, months of them, hotel bookings, flight confirmations, love letters, complaints about me, about how I was boring, predictable, emotionally dull. She told him she stayed with me because it was comfortable, that she didn't want to hurt me, that she loved him but needed time. I felt like I was reading someone else's life. When she came out of the bathroom and saw me sitting there with her laptop, she froze. The towel slipped slightly, but she didn't even notice. She just whispered, "Please don't look at that." I looked up at her and asked quietly, "How long?" She sat down slowly and said, "It wasn't supposed to happen." That's when I knew my marriage was already over. I just hadn't been told. After that night, everything between us felt fragile, like glass that had already cracked and could shatter at any moment. We moved through the house carefully, avoiding each other's eyes, speaking only when necessary. She tried to act normal almost immediately, made breakfast, folded laundry, asked if I wanted coffee. It felt unreal, like she thought routine could erase betrayal. When I finally asked her to explain, She sighed and said she was tired of talking about it. That hurt more than yelling would have. She said the affair started during a work conference 2 years ago. 2 years. While we were planning vacations. While we were discussing retirement. While I was helping her through stress. She said he understood her in ways I didn't. That I had become emotionally unavailable. I reminded her that she stopped talking to me first. She shrugged and said, maybe we both failed. Her version of responsibility always included me. Never just her. She promised it was over. Swore she cut contact. Deleted emails. Blocked numbers. Offered me access to everything. I wanted to believe her. 17 years isn't easy to walk away from. We started counseling. She cried in every session. Told the therapist she felt lost. Overwhelmed. Confused. The therapist talked about rebuilding trust. About communication. About empathy. I nodded. Inside I felt numb. Every time she held my hand in therapy, I wondered whose hand she held last week. At home, things didn't improve. She became impatient with my pain. If I brought up the affair, she'd roll her eyes, say I was stuck in the past, say I was choosing misery. One night she told me, if you can't forgive me, maybe you should just leave. It felt like a challenge, like she didn't think I had the courage. 3 months later, I found out she lied again. A hotel charge appeared on our joint card. Same city, same company conference. Same month she said she was too busy to visit my parents with me. I asked her calmly about it. She said it was a billing error. I called the hotel. They confirmed her stay. 2 nights with a guest. When I confronted her, she exploded, accused me of spying, of controlling her, of ruining her life. Then she admitted it. She had seen him again, just to talk, to get closure, to make sure she didn't regret anything. I realized closure was just her excuse to cheat again. After that, something inside me shifted. I stopped arguing, stopped begging, stopped trying to save us. I started going for long walks at night, sitting in my car after work, listening to music alone. I began imagining life without her. A small apartment, quiet mornings, no lies, no anxiety. The idea scared me, but it also felt like oxygen. Around that time, my daughter noticed attention. She asked why Mommy cried so much, why Daddy slept on the couch. I didn't know how to answer. I hugged her and promised everything would be okay. I wasn't sure it was true. One night, I sat at the kitchen table staring at our wedding photo on the wall. 2 young people, smiling, full of hope. I whispered, when did we die? And that was the moment I knew I was done pretending. Once I admitted to myself that I was done pretending, everything started to feel clearer. Painful, but clearer. I stopped walking on eggshells. Stopped measuring every word. Stopped worrying about how she would react if I was honest. One evening, she asked why I was so quiet lately. I told her the truth. I said I was emotionally exhausted, that I didn't feel safe with her anymore, that every time she left the house, I wondered who she was meeting. She got defensive immediately, said I was paranoid, said I was choosing to live in fear, said if I couldn't move on, that was my problem. Hearing that confirmed what I already knew. She cared more about her comfort than my healing. Around that time, I started noticing how often she lied about small things, things that didn't even matter, where she had lunch, who she talked to, why she was late. It was constant, automatic, like breathing. It made me realize the affair wasn't just a mistake. It was part of who she had become. Deception was her default, and I had been enabling it by staying. One weekend, she said she was going to visit her cousin. She packed an overnight bag and kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. Something in my gut told me she was lying. I checked her location later that night. She was at a resort 3 hours away, not at her cousin's house. A resort I recognized from her old emails, the same one she used to visit with him. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I waited. When she came home the next day, relaxed and smiling, I asked her how her cousin was doing. She didn't hesitate. Launched into a detailed story. Fake problems. Fake conversations. fake memories. I listened quietly. Then I showed her my phone. Her face went blank. She didn't even try to deny it. She just whispered, "I didn't think you'd check." That sentence hurt more than anything. Not "I'm sorry." Not "I messed up." Just disappointment that she got caught. That night, she admitted she never fully ended the relationship, that she tried to but missed the feeling. Being desired, being chased, being special. She said I made her feel ordinary. I realized she was addicted to attention, not love. She didn't want a partner. She wanted an audience. I slept in the guest room after that. For weeks, we barely spoke. We lived like polite strangers, passing each other in hallways, sharing schedules, coordinating around our daughter. Nothing more. Friends noticed something was wrong. I stopped making excuses and finally told one of them the truth. He looked at me and said, "Why are you still there?" I didn't have a good answer. One night, sitting alone in the dark living room, I wrote a list on my phone. Reasons to stay, reasons to leave. The stay side had 3 things: history, fear, and my daughter. The leave side had pages: lies, anxiety, loneliness, disrespect, broken trust, depression, constant doubt. Seeing it in writing made the decision obvious. The next morning, I called a lawyer. I didn't feel brave. I felt desperate to survive. Calling the lawyer was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Not because it was complicated, but because it made everything real, up until that moment. Leaving was still just an idea in my head, something I could back out of if I got scared enough. But once I heard someone calmly explain my options: separation, custody, finances, timelines, it stopped being a fantasy. It became a plan, a future, a different life. I sat in my car after that call and cried for almost 20 minutes. Not because I wanted to stay, because I was grieving the version of my marriage I thought I had. When I told her I wanted to talk that evening, she sensed something was different. She kept asking what was wrong. I said we'd talk after dinner. After we put our daughter to bed, we sat at the kitchen table. Same table where we planned vacations, celebrated promotions, helped our kid with homework. I told her I had spoken to a lawyer. She stared at me like I had slapped her. Then she exploded, accused me of giving up, of being selfish, of destroying our family, of thinking only about myself. I reminded her of every lie, every hotel, every broken promise. She said those were mistakes, that everyone makes mistakes, that I was being dramatic, that I should forgive her if I really loved her. That was when I realized she still didn't understand what she had done. Then she changed tactics. She cried, begged, held my hands, said she was scared, said she couldn't imagine life without me, promised therapy, promised honesty, promised to quit her job, move, start over, anything. Every promise sounded familiar, like a song I'd heard too many times. I told her quietly that I didn't trust her anymore. That love without trust was enough. She said, "What about our daughter?" Using her as a shield, as pressure, as emotional blackmail. I told her staying in a broken marriage wasn't protecting our child. It was teaching her the wrong lesson. 2 weeks later, I moved into a small apartment across town. It was nothing special. 1 bedroom, cheap furniture, thin walls, but it was peaceful. The first night there, I lay on the mattress on the floor and listened to the silence. No arguments, no suspicious messages, no emotional tension, just quiet. It felt strange and good. I started creating new routines: morning coffee alone, evening walks, cooking simple meals, calling my daughter every night. Slowly, I began to feel like myself again. She didn't make it easy. She called constantly, texted nonstop, sent long emotional emails. Some were apologies, some were accusations, some were guilt trips. "You promised forever. You're breaking our family. You're ruining her childhood." I almost believed her sometimes. Then I remembered the lies, the hotels, the second chances she wasted. I stopped responding. My therapist helped me understand that boundaries weren't cruelty. They were survival. The divorce process dragged on for months. Paperwork, meetings, Negotiations. She delayed things whenever she could, missed appointments, claimed she wasn't ready, said we were moving too fast. I stayed firm. Every signature felt like ripping off an old wound. Painful, necessary. With each step, I felt a little stronger, a little freer, a little more like the man I used to be before I learned to live in fear. After the divorce was finalized, I expected to feel like I had lost everything. 17 years of marriage, reduced to signatures and stamp papers. A life I had built piece by piece suddenly labeled past. I thought I would feel empty, broken, defeated. Instead, I felt calm, not happy, not sad, just peaceful. For the first time in years, my mind wasn't constantly racing. I wasn't replaying lies. I wasn't checking phones. I wasn't wondering where she really was. I woke up without anxiety sitting on my chest. I went to bed without dread. My apartment slowly became home. I hung pictures of my daughter, bought a real couch, learned how to cook meals that weren't microwave dinners. I started sleeping through the night. My co-workers noticed I smiled more. My sister said I sounded like myself again. I hadn't realized how much of me I had lost until I got it back. About 4 months later, she reached out. One long message. Apologies, regret, self-reflection. She said therapy helped her understand why she cheated, that she finally saw how much pain she caused, that she missed our family, that she wished she could go back and fix everything. She asked if I ever thought about trying again. I read it 3 times. Slowly, carefully, I felt sadness for what we were, for what we could have been, for the years we wasted. But I didn't feel hope. I didn't feel temptation. I didn't feel the urge to go back. I replied kindly. I told her I hoped she kept working on herself. I told her I wished her peace. And I told her I wasn't coming back. Blocking her afterward felt like closing the final chapter of a book I had been rereading for too long. My relationship with my daughter became stronger than ever without constant tension in the house. We both relaxed. We talked more, laughed more, spent real time together. One night, she told me she liked how quiet our home felt now, how nobody yelled, how nobody cried in secret. That sentence broke me and healed me at the same time. It proved that leaving wasn't selfish. It was necessary. Staying for the kids would have taught her that betrayal was normal. That unhappiness was something you accepted. I was grateful I chose differently. Now, almost a year later, I'm not afraid of being alone anymore. I've dated a little, slowly, carefully. I've learned that healthy love doesn't feel intense and chaotic. It feels stable, respectful, honest. It doesn't require you to doubt yourself. It doesn't make you feel small. It doesn't force you to compete for attention. I've learned to trust my instinct again. When something feels wrong, I listen. When someone shows me who they are, I believe them. Looking back, I see how long I stayed because of fear. Fear of starting over. Fear of failing. Fear of being alone. I confused loyalty with self-sacrifice. Patience with weakness. Hope with denial. I thought enduring pain made me strong. It didn't. Leaving did. If you're reading this and you're stuck in a relationship full of lies, excuses, and broken promises, please hear this. You cannot fix someone who doesn't want to be honest. You cannot love someone into respecting you. You cannot destroy yourself to keep someone comfortable. Walking away isn't giving up. Sometimes, it's the bravest thing you'll ever do. I thought losing my marriage would ruin my life. Instead, it gave me the chance to finally live it.